Hey, my name is Johnny. I'm 25 years old. I just got a hair transplant a month ago at Bosley for 1,600 grafts, and here's my journey. So this is going to be like a documentation series of my hair transplant journey. This video is just going to be about journey from where it started to where I am now. Finally, on my first month, it feels like it's been forever, but it's only been a month. It's crazy. And it feels like when I first got it done, it was months ago, but here I am in the first month, and I'm just gonna go over just a little quick journey of what has happened to transpire to my decision of getting a hair transplant. So around 2017, when I was 20 years old, around my corners is where I started noticing hair was like just thinning a little bit. I had a full head of hair before college, and I went to a new college and I cut all my hair off and I started getting waves. And so what waves are, you brush your hair all the time and to lay them down so they can wave up. If you're black, you know. But if you you wear a do-rag all the time and you're brushing your hair constantly, and I started just noticing a little thinning around my corners. And of course, like, I'm 20 years old, I'm not thinking anything of it. It's like, okay, whatever, put some oil on it and I'll be okay. And so I just kept brushing my hair, kept putting on a do-rag, not knowing like what was happening really to my hair. The following year, that's 2018, I had turned 21, and that's when I really started to know something was up. It was like my hair was getting growing really slow, especially around this top area. You know, when I would grow my hair out, so in waves, you woof it out, and basically that's just growing your hair out and constantly brushing it still, but having pretty much a bush and brushing it. And when I was doing that, I noticed this parts of my hair, the back and more of the top, were growing, but this part was like not growing as fast. It was just like, it was so much lower than this part. And you know, I'm just like, what's going on? In the front, it was real wispy. It was kind of like, instead of like a wave, it was kind of like this way. And I didn't, again, I'm just 21 years old. I'm not thinking I'm going bald, my hair is thinning out. I'm just thinking, oh, it gotta be from the waves. It's just me playing with my hair too much. I'm doing too much. It's just gonna be my last cut, and then I'm done. I'm not gonna wave anymore. So I cut it all off, and when it's down low, it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look bad. You really can't even notice it when it's low. But every time I would grow it out, it would look like that. It would look real wispy in the front and bushy in the back. And again, at 21, I just didn't understand what was going on. And I was kind of in denial. It was a little bit of, you're too young to be going bald. There's no way you're going bald. Your dad started going bald around 30, 40. There's no way that you're 21 years old and you're going bald. I didn't even have people around me that were having any type of issues like that. Even in my family, that's never happened. So it was a shock to me when I really found out what was going on, but I was in denial. There was no way that I was losing my hair at 21. 2020, the year of COVID, is when it became very clear that I was going bald. It was no way you can deny it at that point. It was no way that you could, cover it up, really. It was, you were going bald. And I was in the house all the time, so I didn't really go out. I didn't really do too much with my hair, and I just let it do what it was doing, which was just grow out. And you could tell, it was clear as day that something was going on. This hair right here in the front was all thin, and every hair in the back, it was bushy. It looked like my regular hair was growing, and this part was just so thin and so light. And that was 3 years of not doing any preventative measures. From 2017 to 2020, I didn't really do anything to help my hair grow. I was just doing my regular routines. I would go to the shower, wash my hair, whatever I was doing at the time. And I wasn't really taking any preventative measures. So if you realize, don't be in denial like I was. You realize that something's happening to your hair. You're seeing a lot of thinning. You're seeing a lot of wispiness. You're seeing a lot of it's just less dense than it was. Take some preventive measures, but that just be looking up and researching, going to a hair specialist and figuring out what steps can you take just to get it started, you know, and don't wait too long, because you get to a point where it's like it gets really bad. It wasn't bad, but it gets really noticeable, and it's like I could have tried to stop this earlier and I didn't, because I was just so shocked that this was happening to me. So definitely, once you start noticing, take preventative measures ASAP. 2020 was also the year I graduated. It was the year of COVID, and I had graduated through COVID. I didn't get to walk or anything. But I had got a really good job working for the government. And if you're in Maryland, you already know, it's kind of like a pipeline. You go to college, you work for the government, and you pretty much, that's your job for the rest of your life. And I was getting paid very well. So I had done my research already, and there was really two options. It was Finasteride and hair transplant. There was no way at the time I was going to take Finasteride. I was doing all my research, and I was seeing that the side effects, I didn't want to put myself through that. I was like, no way, I can't do that. You hear horror stories online, right? And so the second option was hair transplant, which I knew was going to be more costly, but I knew it was going to be more effective. So 2021 came around, and I went to a hair specialist, a hair restoration clinic in Baltimore, Maryland. And I wanted a hair transplant. I came in there with already knowing what I wanted. I wanted a hair transplant. I didn't really know anything about grafts yet. I didn't know anything about anything. I just know you get the hairs from the back of your head and you put them in the front. That's all I knew, and that's what I wanted. I was 23 years old at the time, and the doctor wasn't having it. He was like, you're way too young to get a hair transplant. There's no way I'm gonna do it to you this early. And of course that didn't sit well with me, because I'm like, well, why not? This is what I want to do. And more research that I've learned, at 23, at such a young age, you don't know where your balding is going to end. So my balding was literally just right here around 23. I had still good density in the crown and at the top of my head, but here was really rough. And the doctor just wasn't having it. I was already adamant about that's what I was going to do. I was going to get a hair transplant. And his demeanor was he wasn't going to do it. No matter what I said, no matter what I was going to tell or how much I was willing to pay, it wasn't going to happen. So what he did was he told me about other options. Finasteride was one of them, and I was already adamant I wasn't going to take that. And then he told me about Minoxidil and PRP. Minoxidil is just going to be the topical solution that you put on your hair. It boosts your hair follicles so they can grow. And PRP is when they draw blood from you, and they spin the blood in this little machine, and this yellow stuff rises to the top. They shoot that inside of your head, and it helps your hair grow. It's basically using your own body's healing regimens to put in your head and heal those hair follicles back up. And so PRP cost about $1,600 to $3,000 at the time of 2021. Don't know what it costs now, but at that time, that was the range that he gave me. So I was like, okay, well, if you're not going to do the hair transplant, I guess I'll do this minoxidil stuff and I'll do the PRP treatment. And that was around March, and I got the PRP treatment. The PRP treatment had me in disbelief because it didn't work. I felt like it didn't do anything to my hair. I was using minoxidil and my hair was literally falling out. He didn't really tell me that minoxidil was going to cause shedding. He was just like, this is going to help your hair grow. PRP is going to help your hair grow. Use minoxidil twice a day. You can get away with one time a day, but you're really supposed to use it twice a day, and you'll be good. And from March to October, I really didn't see anything. Around the end of October is when my hair started flourishing. It was really dense. It was really put together. I had no qualms about my hair at all. I didn't even have to wear hair fibers. It was looking so good. It was literally the best thing that happened to me that year, because I was already down. I already paid all this money and it just wasn't working. And it wasn't until October where everything just started to come together and it was working. So what is that? 6 months, 7 months time frame when it actually kicked in and was working. But once it started working, it was great. I was amazed, and this is where I made my mistake. After October, so November, December, my hair was looking fine. I didn't need to do anything to it. I was just doing my regular, I was letting it grow, I was cutting it, letting it grow, was cutting it for months. And during those months, I had stopped taking minoxidil. And you're supposed to go re-up for PRP, and I didn't want to re-up. I was like, my hair looks great. I don't need to do anything else. My hair is fine. Just being ignorant and being dumb about the whole situation. What minoxidil is a booster to your head, to your hair. If you take minoxidil, those hair follicles that grow with minoxidil relies on minoxidil. So once you stop taking minoxidil, those hairs are going to fall out constantly, repeatedly. When you stop taking minoxidil, your hair is going to do the shedding process all over again, and you're going to get back on it, and it's going to grow, and it's going to shed, it's going to grow. If you're on minoxidil, stay on minoxidil forever. That's one thing you're going to learn in this hair transplant journey. Whatever you're doing, you need to do this for the rest of your life. And with the PRP, I didn't want to do the PRP again. It was again, I was already in that mode of like thinking my hair is just growing now from, I just need to do one treatment and my hair's fine. I was still in that denial period of I'm not going bald. There's no way. I'm 22 years old, I'm not going bald. 2022 comes around and I decide I'm going to make a big move. I'm going to move from Maryland to Georgia. So that goes into my process of not getting another PRP because I'm like, I already have this big move coming up. I'm about to be paying a lot of money just to move down there. So I don't want to do too much. I go back to my hair restoration specialist in Maryland that March because that's my re-up time for PRP. And I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be back here. Just trying to gas it up to say I'm not paying for it, right? I'm not going to be coming back here every year to just get a PRP injection. I'm done. I think I'm good. My hair is still looking good, but now it's starting to look thin. Like I'm noticing shedding and I notice it's thinning out again, right? So he's like, okay, well, make sure you're still taking your minoxidil, and have you considered Finasteride? And I'm like, hey, like I heard about it. I don't like the side effects to it. He's like, you're really young. You probably won't have any side effects. And if you want to, keep your hair from falling out or keep the hair that you have from just staying there, you're going to need to have some kind of DHT blocker. And DHT is what causes hair loss. So I went on and got the Finasteride. The Finasteride I have had no problems with. All the side effects that I've read online just didn't happen to me. The one thing I will say is a little iffy. Maybe I have the side effect or maybe not. It doesn't matter how much times I go to the gym a week. I still lack definition in certain areas, especially like my arms. My chest would be fine, my abs would be fine, but my arms would lack definition. And that's kind of a side effect to taking, like lack of muscle definition. And I think that's a little bit, I got that side effect if anything. But the other side effect when it comes below the waist, I haven't had a problem with that at all. So what you read online is not always gonna be the same way you're gonna react to any type of medicine. It's a good general basis to say, do I wanna risk it? Do I wanna try it? But you never know what's gonna work for you or somebody else, or what side effects somebody else will have, what side effects you will have. It's gonna be different for everybody. So I started taking Finasteride and I've been on that ever since March. But again, I wasn't taking my minoxidil as well, and I wasn't on PRP. And even with the Finasteride, I would miss weeks, I would miss days. I was just being lazy and not really taking it, again, not taking it too seriously, because I'm still in this like phase where I'm just like, this is not happening. This is not real, it's not happening. It's just a little shedding that's going on. Just being dumb, right? And I wasn't taking Finasteride as much as I should have. Not taking Finasteride, not using minoxidil, not getting any type of treatment for my hair loss was a huge mistake. Because even though my hair was looking good and it was doing fine, it was shedding. I was losing a lot of density, I was losing a lot of hair. So everything that had worked from the minoxidils, from the PRP, had already started falling out. And Finasteride really just holds on to the hairs that you have left and not really grow hair. Finasteride doesn't grow your hair. Minoxidil is the boost to help your hair grow. Finasteride is the one that stops your hair from getting hit by DHT and falling out. So it maintains the hair that you have, and Minoxidil is the boost to make your hair grow. Again, it's a lifelong thing. I'm already knowing that I'm gonna have to take Finasteride forever and I'm gonna have to use Minoxidil forever. So coming around to 2023, January, I'm sick of my hair falling out. I'm sick of wearing hair fibers. I'm sick of wearing hats. I'm uncomfortable how I look. I put the hair fibers in, I'm looking good, I'm feeling myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so great. Then that night I'm washing it out, I'm looking at my hair and it's balding here. Now my crown is balding too. So down to the middle and then wide to the top of my head, it's bald. It's literally balding. And I'm like, I'm tired of looking like this, you know? And it's just like, I'm 25 now. I remember back when I was 23, he said, come back when you're 25, 26 time frame, and then we can talk about a hair transplant. I moved to Georgia, so going back to him was just not gonna happen. And so I looked up hair restoration in the area of Georgia, and Bosley was one of the first things to come up. I already knew about Bosley. Everybody kind of has a general gist about Bosley. They're like the most known hair restoration clinic. So I was like, okay, why not Bosley? February comes around and I'm not taking Minoxidil, but I'm taking Finasteride every day now. I'm adamant about it. I'm like, I'm not gonna slack. I'm gonna take this every day. The consultation comes up in February. I book a free one with Bosley, and the consultation goes great. She takes pictures of my hair. She talks about, what do you know about hair restoration? Are these certain steps that you want to take? Have you been on Minoxidil? Have you been on Finasteride? Have you done PRP? And I'm giving them all the details that I know and what I have researched, the difference between FUE and FUT. FUT is the strip, the scar on the back of your head, where they take that out and then they pick the grafts out individually. And then FUE is when they take the grafts straight from the back of your head and pick those out individually and place on the top of your head. So I was already saying, I'm gonna do the FUE. Don't want a scar on the back of my head. Give me the FUE. She takes pictures of my head. She realized that I'm around Norwood 4 going into a Norwood 5. And that process was really simple, really easy. She was completely transparent. She told me about the price. She told me about everything that I needed to know before going into the surgery room, really. They're quick about trying to get you in ASAP. They do discounts every month and do discounts at your consultation, depending on who you have, I'm guessing. But it was very quick, very easy process, very transparent. I knew exactly what I was going into, and I had scheduled it for the end of March. So what they do, when I had scheduled my surgery for the end of March, they had to put me on a wait list. So anytime somebody cancels or somebody can't get their transplant done because of whatever medical condition they have, you can get moved up to the wait list. And I got moved up twice. One day was on a day where I just couldn't do it, and then the next time was on the 14th, which was like 2 days away when I got the call. I got the call on like the 12th, and the 14th was the next day that they had available. So I said, yeah, put me in. I want to get this done as soon as possible. The sooner I can do it, the better I can just be off in the summertime and just have my hair out, right? So February, not even a month in between, I got my surgery done March 14th. Hey, thanks for watching. This video went on way too long. I did not mean it to go this long, so I had to cut these parts into two. The next video is gonna go over more of my experience with Bosley, how that transpired, why did I choose Bosley over other clinics, and my hair reveal will be in that video. So thanks for sticking around. See you in the next one. Peace.